Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of episode 16 of the Challenge Double Agents. All right, we're there. We've got 10 people in the house, 5 men, 5 women, and every single one of them's got a gold skull. We wrapped up the first part of this season last week. Big T was the only person in the house that still didn't have a gold skull. She went into the elimination arena against Anissa. Big T won. She took Anissa's gold skull from her and sent Anissa home. I hated to see it. Anissa one more season where she got close but just didn't make it to the end. But props to Big T for doing what she had to do at the end to get that final gold skull. So now everyone in the house has a gold skull. We're ready for the finale, right? Nah, not so fast. Not going to happen tonight. We find out TJ's going to make him wait a little bit longer. We really don't know what's going to happen at this point going forward. But again, everyone's got their skulls. They're ready to move on to the next stage of the competition. So as we see everyone coming back from last week's elimination competition, we get a little voiceover. Kyle is talking. Now that everyone's got the skulls, they're all trying to pretend. No one wants to go into the ring at this point in time, right? Every single person is doing everything possible to avoid going into elimination. But Kyle's worried. He's the theme, I think, of this week is, I don't know, the alliances. You really seem to have a very solid breakdown of one side versus the other. And Kyle's noticed that. Kyle is very worried that he doesn't have a lot of people to depend upon. He figures that he can depend upon Amber B. I'll just say Amber at this point. He can depend on Amber, because she's his partner. And he figures that CT and Big T have his back. But everyone else, he considers to be kind of, we'll call it the Big Brother Alliance, for lack of a better word. He really doesn't think he can trust anyone else. So you do kind of have a group of 6 versus a group of 4. And we're going to see how that plays out this evening and through the rest of these competitions. We do see, I remember last week, CT gave Big T a very hard time for her lack of cardio when they're running their half mile after parachuting. Really gave her a hard time. So sure enough, he's got her training just like old Rocky Balboa at this point in time, doing steps and things like that. Early in the morning, we even heard a little Rocky music playing in the background. So CT is doing what he can now that he knows Big T's going to be his partner, probably through the finale. So he wants to get her up to speed. I get it. And maybe there's a little bit of encouragement from the producers to do this little segment. But all I can think of is at this point in time, you can't pick up. If you don't already have the cardio, you're not going to get it over the next few days or however long they have before you get to the finals themselves. And I'm really worried that all that CT is doing is just going to wear out and tire out Big T, so she can't do anything when it comes to the next competition. But it was still a little fun segment to watch as he's encouraged her. You know, CT's just like old sour Mickey from Rocky, getting Big T to do her work. So don't think it'll make a difference, but you never know. We'll find out. At this point in time, we now have the next challenge. And again, it seems very much like just a normal week, a normal type challenge like we've had before. This particular competition is called, I think, Mission Global Domination. I'll just call it Hamster Ball, because that's really what it is. It involves every team being in a ball together, and they're rolling around. You've got 3 teams on offense, 2 teams on defense. The objective of the offensive teams is to roll over as many little targets that are all in this little arena or open area. Run over as many targets as you can in the allotted time period. Well, the 2 defensive teams are going to try to keep you from rolling over those balls as much as possible. And now it's kind of an interesting competition because the teams on defense very much can decide who they want to go after, who they want to try to block to keep from scoring, and who they maybe just want to leave alone. So you're really kind of laying your cards on a table. Now, I don't think there's any huge surprises about who's aligned with who at this point in time, but you still have the ability to really screw with someone's game if you don't want them to score points, or let other people glide a little bit if you need to. Now, here's the interesting thing I really thought on this competition. Remember, we've got 10 people, so we've got 5 teams competing. If you have 3 on offense and 2 on defense, when you go, that's 1 round. Then they go to a second round. Well, we only have 5 teams of 2, so they're 1 team short in terms of doing the second round of the competition. So TJ announces that because of that, the team that was the double agents last week, who were Leroy and Casey, because they were the double agents last week, they get two huge benefits. One, they get to pick who is on offense, who is on defense in round 1 and round 2. And TJ also says that one team's going to, because they've got an odd number of teams, one team's just going to stay on offense both rounds. And whichever round they score the most points on is the score that counts. Well, so of course, Casey and Leroy immediately say, yeah, we're doing both rounds on offense. We're not going to play defense at all. That is huge. That is a gigantic advantage. Last week when you picked who jumped out of the airplane first, parachuting, who jumped out last, that really didn't mean that much. But this week, huge benefit to those two. And not only do they get to go on offense first, but they also get to decide who's on defense, who's on offense. So they really got to stack the deck quite a bit. And we're going to see how the effects of this game play out. Because it's a huge advantage. Now the first round we see the competition. It's actually pretty close. All the teams on offense are doing pretty well, but then we get to the second round, and this is interesting. And I'm not going to go over all the different teams and points and everything else because it's really not that important. But just keep this in mind. Leroy and Casey do pretty well in the first round. Nani and Fessy actually look like they maybe scored more points than Leroy and Casey in round number 1. But again, Leroy and Casey get to go again. And what we see in the second round, I really think this was a misstep from a strategy standpoint. We see Cam and Corey, who are on offense, and CT and Big T are now on defense. Well, they were flipped the round before. Cam and Corey were on defense, and CT and Big T were on offense. And I guess Cam and Corey were really harassing Big T and CT the whole time, wouldn't let them score. So Big T and CT do the same thing in round number 2 when they're on defense. They say, we're just going to stay on Cam and Corey the whole time. We're not going to let them score any points at all. Kind of a personal vendetta because of what happened in round number 1. Well, Cam points out that they are just fine with that. They've got no problem at all because Leroy and Casey are also out there, and Cam is perfectly happy to let her boyfriend and his partner score as many points as possible to protect Cam and Corey when it comes down to it. And that's where this advantage it really exists, is now we suddenly have Cam and Corey, Big T and CT tied up with each other. You also have Kyle and Amber and Fessy and Nani more or less tied up with each other, which leaves Leroy and Casey alone on offense. And they just dominate this competition, rolling over as many targets as you can see. So not only did they get to pick who is going against who, not only did they get 2 chances to do it, but because it's a second chance, they feel much more comfortable, I think, on how to score the points, how to make the ball roll, things like that. So it's not a huge surprise at the end of this competition that sure enough, Casey and Leroy have won the competition for yet another week. They are the double agents. They are in control. And it's huge now because of the way the alliances are playing out. Again, a huge advantage that they got in this event by getting to pick who was going against who and getting to go twice in the competition. So there you go. Leroy and Casey have won the challenge. They're going to pick who goes into the ring against whoever the house is going to send in. We don't have a whole lot of teams left, and it really comes down to, as Kyle had suggested earlier, it really came down to Kyle and Amber, CT and Big T were the big targets. Leroy and Casey, I mean, obviously Leroy's not going to put in Cam and Corey because it's his partner, and Fessy is part of the and Nani are part of the Big Brother Alliance. So it's coming down to CT, Big T, and Kyle and Amber. And sure enough, when it comes to the actual vote itself, Amber and Kyle have been voted in. It's interesting because we weren't sure how the votes were going to play out. The big surprise is that there was talk at one point about trying to maybe force a tie, that Kyle and that everyone on that side, CT, Big T, Kyle, and Amber would all vote for Nani and Fessy. So that's 4 votes for them, 4 votes then against either Kyle and Amber, or I'm throwing out a lot of names, aren't I? But a 2-way tie between those 2 groups. And then theoretically, Leroy and Casey are to make the decision between them. Not real sure how it goes, but Big T or CT's played this game enough. He says, "Yeah, we're not messing with that." CT turns right around and he votes for Kyle and Amber to go in. So instead of it being a 4-4 tie, it turns out it's basically a 5-3 vote to send Amber and Kyle in instead. Now CT doesn't try to hide it. He comes in later and says, "Kyle, just to let you know, I voted to send you in because otherwise it could have been me, and I did what I had to do." And so Kyle's upset, but I don't think he's completely surprised. So there you have it. Kyle and Amber are going into the elimination arena. Now, here's the thing. We don't know if this is a men's or a women's elimination. We don't have a clue this week. So it really, both of those people's games are very much at risk at this point in time. So we have that. When we walk into the elimination arena, it looks like a hall brawl. I think this is the third time they've had the hall brawl. And I love the competition. First time was Fessy, and he just dominated in that one. And then I think, did Amber do this competition before? I should check before I did this. I think Amber may have won her gold skull on Hall Brawl. So we have that lined up. We get into the arena. Again, it's going to be Kyle and Amber versus, not a huge surprise, Leroy and Casey say, yeah, let's go ahead and get in Big T and CT as well. So as Kyle predicted last week, even when it came down to picking partners and all of that, he was very much worried that he knew who the teams that were going to be targeted by the Big Brother Alliance were going to be. And sure enough, it's them. So the big question, is it going to be a men's elimination or is it going to be a women's elimination? It's a women's elimination. Oh, Big T and Kyle are both Big T. CT and Kyle are very happy. They didn't want to go up against each other and send someone home, and they're safe this week. So we're going to have Amber versus Big T. That's tough. This is a tough competition for Big T. Now, she gives it everything she's got, but Amber mentioned she plays rugby. She's done the competition before. They have to try to get through this narrow passageway, get to the other side, hit the button first. 3 rounds. The first one to get 2 rounds wins. It's not that close. They tried. Big T gave it everything she had. She truly did. But Amber just has better techniques, probably a little more strength, a little more size on Big T, and she won it in 2 rounds. And again, it wasn't that close. But props to Big T. I hate to see Big T going home. I've got so much respect I've developed for her. I want to see her back again. I really feel like she blossomed this season. But alas, it's the end of the road for Big T. She is going home. She loses to Amber. Now, Amber already had the gold skull, so there's nothing to be gained other than just survival in the game itself, except we still have the ability to pick new partners. Amber is still around. Kyle has lost his partner. CT has lost his partner in Big T. Amber has a choice. She can keep Kyle or she can pick anyone else she wants, except for Leroy, since they're the double agents. And so what does Amber do? She picks Fessy. She picks Fessy, and it kind of joins up with the Big Brother Alliance. And it's going to be interesting. I'm not sure how much Fessy really wanted it, but we'll find out. But by picking Fessy, it means that now Nani, who is Fessy's partner, she's now unattached, and she gets to choose between either Kyle or who am I missing? That's pretty funny. That I can't remember. Anyway, she gets to choose, and she picks Kyle. And so now we've got Nani and Kyle, and CT. And now CT is the rogue agent, and I lose my train of thoughts. I'm thinking about Easter hunts and things like that. So now we've got CT is the rogue agent. He's safe next week, so he's in a pretty good position because now next week we're going to have a men's elimination. You think? Maybe we go to the finals, but CT is now safe as the rogue agent. Assuming it's going to be a women's elimination, a men's elimination next week. Whatever woman is left will be matched up with CT, and maybe at that point now with 8 people, at that point we'll run into the finals. But who knows? TJ's going to surprise us once again. All right, guys, that's it. A little bit shorter episode. It's only an hour long this week, but we're now down to 9 people, and heck, who knows? Next week we may be down to 8. We may be down to 6 or 7, and it's going to go fast at this point in time. I will be back after next week's episode to talk about another recap of where we're at that point. In the meanwhile, guys, y'all have a safe holiday season. Happy Easter to all of y'all. Go find some Easter eggs. Y'all have a great one. Talk to y'all next week. Cheers, my friends. Bye.